This video is to discuss the assignments for Friday, December 3rd. Okay, so first we have the practice writing your name in the mulberry bush. Again, the mulberry bush will be on the back side of the name page. And whenever your child writes their name, please remember to have them go left to right, start the letters on the go dot, not go just down with each letter one at a time, but write their whole name across and then do the next one, and try their best to stay on the lines and not just rush through and make it sloppy. The mulberry bush on the back is just to help them with their letter formation and number formation. Okay, after they do their handwriting, their name practice, then we are going on to the phonics part of the day, which is our letter of the week, and that's N. Whatever they didn't get done previously throughout the week, let them work on, finish up. We usually have a must-do every day of the week, and then Friday, if they didn't get it done, they finish up, and then we have free time. You're more than welcome to let your child have free time at home. The only activity for letter N is that weekly scavenger hunt. Just find these things at home or draw a picture of them if you don't have one at home, or find a picture in a magazine or online. Just supposed to be a fun activity to remind your child that N is a letter, it makes a sound, and there's a bunch of different things that start with N, not just one or two things. Words, that is. And then we have our sight words of the week. This is the paper that was included on Monday's packet that you should have held on to all week. Have your child read through the poems a few times. It would be awesome if you could make flashcards with all of the words that we've gone through so far. Those words are am, a, is, I, the, to, little, like, my, we, have, he, and she. Make some flashcards, mix them up, go through them, have your child read through them a couple of times, read through the poems to remember he and she. He is a boy or a man, she is a girl or a woman, and the only difference is there's an S in front of there's an S in front of he to make she. And then have your child act out the poem if that's something that they seem interested in doing. That usually helps them remember a little better. Don't ask me how, but it works. Right here, for one activity that we do on Fridays that we don't do for the rest of the week, is our weekly reader. And mine is huge because mine's the teacher edition. But yours looks just like this, it's just smaller. What we do is we pass these out and we talk about, or we let the kids look at them. We don't read anything to them, but they look through them, look at the pictures, and we see if they can figure out what's the main idea. What is this weekly reader going to be mostly about? Your child might say it's about drawing, it's about snow, just by looking at the front, but whenever they open it up, they could see that not all the pictures are about snow. And after they've had a couple of guesses, you could tell them, well, actually, this whole weekly reader is mostly about holiday traditions. We talked about traditions with Thanksgiving. We didn't talk a whole lot about them because we did miss 2 days, but talking about traditions, what things that your family does consistently every year, and how that might be different from other family traditions, and maybe even other countries, if you know how other countries celebrate different holidays. But each box, I'll have them point, I'll say, point to the green box. Let's talk about what the picture is, what's going on in that picture, and then I'll read it to them and say, is that a tradition we have at our house? Yes or no? Then the purple box, read it, talk about what the boy is doing in the picture. Is that a tradition that we have at our house? And the blue box and red box and orange box. This one over here is, there's always a little, makes the kids think, this is what happened. What would you do? What would the right thing to do be? What should this little girl do in this situation? Just a discussion on something that might happen at home. Now on the back, this is talking about syllables. We just started touching on syllables the week before we got out for Thanksgiving. And we're explaining that syllables are not how many sounds are in a word, because that's like whenever you stretch out a word to figure out how to spell it, we stretch it out and listen to all the sounds. That's not what syllables are. Like, so a word might have 3 sounds, like the word like, but that doesn't mean it only has 3 letters, and it definitely doesn't mean it has 3 syllables. So we explain syllables with beats. How many beats in the word? So we were clapping, like present, but it's very hard for the kids to listen and count while they clap and say the word. So instead of clapping, we started tapping. So present. I tapped these fingers, so how many was it? Or just going present. How many syllables, how many beats are in that word? That kind of thing. You might want to do syllables with family members' names or pet names, furniture in the house, different things, stuffed animals your child may has, just so they understand that it's a beat and not like when you spell a word. It's pretty hard to have some of them decipher, but once they get it, they get it. It's just getting over that hump of the difference between sounding out a word to spell it and sounding it out to see how many syllables it has. But anyway, talk through this with your child, have them color in how many syllables for each of these words. Okay, and finally, let me get all this out of the way. On the chart, on the assignments, we have math. So again, this is a paper that we should have held on to throughout the week and used every day. You're welcome to click on the little videos of counting by tens, counting by ones, counting by fives that I have on the virtual classroom. I do not have a video of counting backwards from 20 to 0, so your child can just do that themselves. After the counting, we have our 3-dimensional worksheet. So this is the math page for today, and it's going off more 3-dimensional 3D shapes or solid shapes that we introduced from yesterday. This is a lot like that one, I think from Tuesday, I think it was, where they just look at the shapes in the row and color the shapes that are the same. So we have a cylinder, a cube, a rectangular prism, and another cube. So which 2 are the same? And it's just showing the kids actual everyday objects, things that you would find in the real world that have these shapes instead of just thinking of an arbitrary shape. And I will be showing the kids in our meetings our little blocks that we use for 3D shapes, but again, they won't be like an ice cream cone or a ball or a soda can. It will actually just be a cylinder and a cone and a sphere and that kind of thing. So anyway, just read the instructions and have your child color. Doesn't matter what colors they use, just as long as they follow directions. Please remember to put your name on it. And then on the back, look at the picture and try to find one of each of these shapes at home, because this is focusing on rolling, sliding, and stacking. So what you'll find is that any shape with a curved side is going to roll. So there should be 3 shapes that roll. 1, 2, and 3. But if it doesn't have a curved shape, it's not going to roll. It's going to slide. And you can see the picture, and talk about the different shapes you see here. But there are some shapes that will roll and stack. There's one shape that will just stack. There's one shape that will only roll. But this one is kind of controversial. Some people say that it can stack and roll. I'm one of those people. Some people say that it doesn't stack. But if you think of like a castle, that one's the one on top, where the princess is, if you will. But you can put the cone on top of cylinders and it will stay there. It will also slide. Anything with a flat face, a flat surface. Of course, I don't have my... Oh, I do have them. Yay. Making this video a little longer than it should be. Sorry about that. So the cone will roll, the sphere will roll, and the cylinder will roll. The cube will not roll. A pyramid will not roll. and a rectangular prism will not roll. These are not ones that we are talking about in our paper, but sliding is what it does on a face. So these can all slide. These can all roll. Sorry, it's off the camera. These can slide and roll. This one can just roll. This one can just slide. Now stacking is different. See, I can stack my cone on top of my cube or my cylinder. I cannot stack a sphere because it will just roll off. Even if you can get it to be really still, it still is not sturdy. You would not consider that stacking. So that's what this page is about, is finding things and actually using them and putting your hands on them, which is what we would have done in class. Each kid would have gotten their own little baggie of these shapes and been able to explore. So if you have these things at home to explore, that would be ideal. Okay, well, hopefully we will be back together again next week, and we will be able to play with all these awesome shapes then. I'm recording this way in advance, so I'm not sure if we will be back together or not. I'm hoping that we will. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know through Class Dojo or email. And thank you for helping your child at home with remote learning.